our member John. We're going to start in just a moment, but first, if this is your first time tuning in to Office Hours, what it is that we hold 6 Zoom sessions every week, and our developer members of NoCoders can come into the Zoom sessions and then ask us any no-code questions, especially Bubble related, they want, and we do our best to answer them. And well, of course, we can't promise all of the answers, but we get it right most of the time. And we promise that you won't suffer alone, because we know that sitting behind your monitor, babbling all day and doing no code all day can get lonely. And it's always nice to have help when you need it. So if you would like to come on to Office Hours, please go to pronocoders.com, not the version test, but the version live one, and sign up for a developer membership. Okay, let's see what we have today. I'm gonna put my, here I am. And let's start solving some questions. How are you, John?
I'm good. Long time no speak. Have you been all right?
Yeah, totally. Working a lot, like always. And babbling and doing all little experiments and learning. Yeah.
Good.
How's your app coming along?
Yeah, it's going okay. Slowly but surely getting through it. So yeah, it's all right.
Nice. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
And
so
do you have? Yeah.
Yeah, as usual.
Ask some questions and share your screen.
Yeah, shall I share my screen? So Tanya's getting very familiar with my app now, so it's starting to move along. So let's start. Let me show you. Right, let me show you this. So Tonya was helping me with this the other day. So I have a plugin which, when you click a button, it pops up this little calendar view to allow people to pick the date range. This was available on the App Store, and it was the code was available. So I've modified. So this is actually it's one of my apps now. So I've recreated it and then modified the code to do more of what I want. So in the original one, it allows you to go forwards in time, whereas in my application, that makes no sense. You're always going backwards in time from a date that's a few days ago, but that's not really the issue. So that's all working fine. And on this test page where I've just got it set up, if you watch these dates here, so start date and end date, you can see when I change them to say this month, it changes to April so far up to 2 days ago, because that's how I've got it set up. Last month will show me last month, etc., etc. And the date range is just a calculation that I'm doing. So it all works fine here. And these states are automatically output. So let me show you just as a bit of context. So let me go to my plugins just so you can see. I don't know you need to necessarily know this level of detail, but I'll show you anyway. If you go to the plugin, then you can see in the code that it outputs 2 states, start date time and end date time. And it automatically spits those out as a published state. So when I am building, let's go back here. When I am creating so when I'm creating that page, so the page I was just showing you the preview of here, this is the back end for it. I can go in and say, right, go off and get start date range picker A, which is the name of this, which is the plugin, start date time, which is the automatically created state, and it just gives me the date time back. And then whenever I change in the front end, whenever I change the dates, it automatically updates that state. So that works fine. What Tonya and I were playing with the other day was in my app, if you remember, then the way it works is, and this is a very long-winded explanation, sorry, but I thought I'd give you the...
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, the more context, the better.
Okay, so when I'm on one of my pages, then I've got various things going on here because I'm sort of testing different things. If I click this, which is so this header is a reusable element, and that's what's causing me the problem. So when I click date range, it pops up the calendar view. But if you see here, it's spitting out the dates. So just ignore these dates at the bottom for a minute. Just focus on these two. You'll see that's currently April 6th to the 30th of March. If I change it to be this month, let's say, that should show you April 4th to from April 1st, but nothing happens. It doesn't. So the date changes in the plugin, but it doesn't spit it out here. Now, what is going on is, and I think this is the nub of my problem, is if I go to the workflow, what Tonya set up for me is this. So when the page is loaded, so ignore some of the others, create a custom state, which is start date, and the value of that is date range pickers start date time. I set another one, which is end date range pickers end date time, because I can't access those states directly because it's a reusable element. Yeah. So she did it this way. Now, I think what's going on is that's fine when the page loads, but when I then check, when the user then changes the date, because that workflow is saying on page load, do this, it's not being told to do anything when the user changes this.
Yeah, probably that when the user changes that, you would need to update those custom states, right?
Exactly. And what I can't work out is what I target to say, if I go in here and say, when, what I want to do is be able to go in and say, right, when you change this,
when you click there, yeah.
But I can't see any way of targeting this.
Yep.
Plugin because it's a part of a reusable element, blah, blah, blah,
blah. So I'm thinking what you could do is have when condition is true. So if you go to that reusable and then add a workflow that says do when condition is true, and then you check the value of the plugin against the custom state. And if it is different, you update the custom state with the value of the plugin. And you can do that for both, for the start time and the end time. And maybe that works.
Okay. So just talk me through that then. So create a new thing. Yep.
Yep. And then do when condition is true.
Okay.
And then only when, over there, you can select the custom state, one of those. So it will be floating group header start time.
Floating group header.
Yeah, start date.
Yeah.
And then you can say is not. It's probably going to be a date. Then you are going to have to do. I think the way I did this. Callum, how do you normally compare dates between each other? Just because you don't have the operator is not and is. I think I've done it just like by subtracting one date from the other and checking if the number is bigger than one.
Yeah, can you just can you format as,
or maybe format it as Unix or something like this? Yeah.
I'm gonna just format as number and then do less than or greater than.
So that's a good idea. So formatted as over there. Yeah, that one, the first one.
That one, right.
Yeah, and then over there you can choose, I think, simplified extended ISO. Is that gonna give us a number? I don't know. I don't remember what that format was. No, it's not. How could I format a date? Let's see next. Because I think we can just, yeah, let's just try subtracting one date from the other and see what happens, see if that works. So you don't need to format it. So just do, yeah, start date minus. So it's going to be, yeah, exactly that one. And then you need to take the value of the plugin. So it would be, I think date range picker was the name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. And then start date time.
Right. Okay.
And we can say, it doesn't really matter, but for example, format as seconds. And then say is not 0. Yeah. And I think this might fire if the custom state is different to the value of the plugin. I would run this where it says run this just once. I would run this every time.
Yeah.
And then the action would be to set the state, to set a custom state. So it would only be one action over there. Yeah. Set state, and you would update the floating group headers start date with the value of the plugin.
Do you like my Steve Jobs outfit, by the way?
Yeah.
Very good.
It's pretty nice. I think you have it down there, below drop down. Yeah. Date range picker.
Oh, yeah,
over there. Yeah. Yeah, very elegant, Callum.
Thank you.
There's the new iPhone coming out.
So shall I test that then? So that should change the start. Yeah.
Let's try this one, and then if it works, we can implement the other one.
I haven't seen you in ages, Pablo. How you been?
Yeah, I've been great, man. Been working a lot.
Yeah.
But having fun. Yeah.
Good.
That's changing it.
A lot. It is working, right?
Yeah, that works.
Amazing.
So I can just do the same thing. Okay, so I'll just do another do when.
Yeah. And then you replicate that with the end date, and that should that should allow you to change it. And because you have it with every time, it's gonna keep changing whenever the plugin value changes.
So if I change that to end date.
Mm-hmm.
End date.
And over there, yeah. And exactly. And then you would need to set the other state. Yeah. So instead of that one, you would pick the end date. Yeah. That's right.
I was puzzling with that for about 2 hours today. So that's great.
Yeah, that's a tricky one. I've had a similar problem in the past with some apps.
That looks like it's working. Cool.
Nice. Amazing.
Yeah, fabulous. Thank you.
You're very welcome. That was a very well explained question. It was easy for me to understand what was going on. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Callum, how are you? How is the app going? Did you get lots of feedback? Lots of users?
I've been talking to myself for like 10 seconds there. I was on mute. Yeah, I passed 100 users and I'm getting like 1 or 2 new users every day without any marketing or anything. People just seem to be finding it. I've changed it massively. Like I haven't pushed a new update in months, just because I've been working on the new, like the entire concept has kind of changed, but it's yeah, going well, and I'm a lot happier the way it looks now as well. I've got one for you. I'm not sure if you'll be able to solve it, but
yeah,
I mean, you might be able to. It's not really it's one of the things. Is I don't think it's doable in Bubble, but
are you going to show us your sexy circular menu thing before you start?
That I mean, that is still the issue. That I couldn't get the rotation thing working. So
okay.
I can.
So it's not quite sexy at the moment.
No, but I mean, it is a sexy circular menu like that. Looks kind of cool, but it.
Oh man, that looks really sexy.
Yeah. Thank you. And then yeah, so it's
nice.
Yeah, but the idea was I wanted the circular menu to be able to rotate. So like it is a full circle, and I want it to be able to. That's half the menu, and then flick it, and then it rotates to the other half. I don't think it's possible.
I really don't think it's possible either. No.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe with a plugin or something like this, but you'd need to build it.
So that's the thing. So there was a plugin. I spoke to the guy, and I got it semi-working. The only problem is the guy that showed it to me, it allows you to make things bigger, resize elements, and rotate them. But the rotation has a very, very tiny handle that you have to click in order to be able to do it. So it's not just slide anywhere. You have to put your finger on it. You'd have to know where it is first. And also, once you've moved it once, the handle is then off the page and you can't see it. So you then can't move it back. So yeah, not 100% sure what I'm going to do there.
So is it supposed to be that you sort of touch it and spin it?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So then you can move around to the next set of options, but I'm not even sure it's possible.
I mean, that would be super cool. It's true that when you showed me the interface, that's what I thought it was going to do. I was very impressed. So yeah,
now you're just disappointed.
No, I'm still impressed, but yeah, that would have been epic.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's annoying, but I basically just don't think it is possible to do because you want. I mean, drag and drop you can do, but you're asking it to rotate around a center point.
Yeah, honestly, I have absolutely no idea how this could be done on mobile.
I thought you were going to come to me with some like flashy little JavaScript bit. You're like, yeah, no, I know. I just type that in and it's done. No.
No. I wish. What is the feature that users are like using the most? Or
it was the groups. People were signing up to groups. I'm still having trouble with people going to social. But if you remember before, there was no business, no entertainment, no finance, it was just the social stuff. So I've added in all the new stuff. So like cards. That's a weird shape. I don't know why it's done that. Cards, like wallets. I've got crypto in there, which is pulling in live prices from CoinGecko. I couldn't build the chart. I tried to build a chart for it, but I've had problems with that. But yeah, no, it doesn't look as good previewing it like this, but
it has pretty much everything. Like you're trying to create a WeChat here. Something that replaces all the apps in your phone.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly how I would describe it. But yeah, so that's where we are so far. But
why couldn't you get the charts to work for the crypto stuff?
That's a really weird one. So I can show you. I've got something, and it might be a bubble bug because Tonya couldn't work it out either. So if I go to where was it? It was slide up floating group and then view crypto. And then if I go and put the chart element, where's the chart gone? There we go. So just do that one, for example. Okay, so that's just the normal bubble chart, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then type of data, Gecko, historical price. It's going to get data from external API. Right, so that should be pulling in bit. So the first thing is the timestamp is Unix, which is annoying for the crypto price. This one here, so prices, so that's done. And then value express. See what just happened there when I clicked that?
Yeah,
it disappeared.
Weird.
Yeah, and it's done it again there every time.
Yeah, that's definitely a bubble bug.
You know, I don't think it is, because if I do clear expression, it keeps doing it. But I think if I do something else like user and then change that, I think it might be something to do with the API.
I don't know. It's super weird, that bubble kind of like changes the chart behavior based on the API.
I mean, maybe it is. Let me just see it with this one. So we're going to do this actually. The value expression is my current points. What would be a number? Notifications count. See, that works.
Yeah,
I think it's the API.
I mean, it's true that maybe the issue is that with all the APIs, you know, not just the CoinGecko one. Or maybe it's just with the CoinGecko API.
Could be, but yeah, no, so couldn't get that working. But
you tried it with free Apex charts. What instead? I wonder if.
Yeah, I've tried them all. The same thing happened.
Right.
So that's what makes it. It's
then it's most likely the API. Yeah, if it happens.
It's weird that an API can impact the visual way that Bubble works. It seemed weird, but
maybe it's because it's not sending. Honestly, I have no idea.
No, I mean the API is working, and I mean there is a weird thing about the API as well, though. So if you go to CoinGecko and then historical, if we look at the results it returns and the raw data, that is the price of crypto, and that is the Unix timestamp. But it returns it as a single result.
Yeah.
It doesn't return it as the time of the price and the price. It returns it as time bracket price, which was even weirder, because like at that point then setting up the chart becomes really hard, because somehow
it's super annoying. Yeah,
you have to split that number from that
an array of objects. Honestly, I wish we had like more control over how we receive the API responses, because I usually need to run like some JavaScript on sometimes depending on the API, but just to format it, to take the whole blob of text that the API, or the array that the API sends us, and then just format it as you need. You could do that and see if it worked.
Yeah, that's exactly what I've had to do with the Google Search Console API. If you remember, Pablo, it brings back those keys where the first key is always the keyword and the second key is always the URL. But it's exactly like that Coinbase one, where it just splits them with a comma. And so I had someone build me a small JavaScript widget that sorts that for me and then gives me it back with keyword and then the value and then URL and then the value, etc. So maybe that's what you need to do then, I guess.
Maybe, but there's something going wrong with the API in general.
Yeah. It won't solve that problem.
Yeah, that would be the first thing to solve. Otherwise, you get the JavaScript and it still doesn't work.
Yeah, I might as well just try and find another provider for it, to be fair.
Makes sense.
What about, because who did I spin up a demo with? Because I was playing with this the other day. Nothing to do with, well, I think they do crypto though. Let me open up one of my apps. Who was I using? Oh, financial data. Where's this coming from? Let's have a look. Alpha Vantage.
Yeah, tried that one.
Right.
I've tried them. So I've tried them all. Like any variation of free crypto API, I have tried, and Yeah.
Mm.
I haven't, but I mean, I guess it's a fun thing to play with, right? You have so much data, so many ways of presenting it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Hey, Adam, by the way.
What?
I said hi to Adam.
Oh yeah, that's
Hi,
what
how are you
I
guys?
was going to say. How are you, Adam?
Good.
How's it going? I don't know if we've met. I don't think so.
I don't think we have. It's good to meet you.
No, same. Do you have any questions? Any things that you would like us to cover today?
Yeah, I have kind of a simple one. It's going to sound a little bit silly. It's a messaging function. So I will, if you guys are up for it, I can share my screen.
Yep.
I think it's this. Yeah. So essentially, I'm having trouble. I just want to make sure that this is a reversed repeating group, right? So what happens is like it always starts at the top. And I tried using the plugin that's like the go-to reverse repeating group plugin, and it flipped my cells upside down. Like this GIF, this text was upside down. And I was like, that's not what I wanted. I just wanted this to start at the end of the repeating group or at the bottom of the page versus, you know what I mean? So I'm up to use the plugin, but I just need to make sure that when I load a chat, it doesn't start like up here and I have to keep scrolling down. You know what I mean?
That happens a lot with, so I have that issue with the reverse repeating group where it doesn't always start right at the bottom, and it is a pain in the ass. I haven't found out a way to fix it and make it scroll to the bottom. I know how to make it do the reverse one. By the way, is your app called Circle by any chance?
It is. Yours is
Okay.
too, huh?
Yep.
Well, what's up?
Oh, right. One sec. Let me just speak to my lawyer quickly.
Both your apps called the same thing. All right. Have you spelled it with a Q as well?
No, I spelled it the proper way because I went to
Right. There you go then.
All right. I'm kidding. I do like your logo, by the way. It looks awesome.
I appreciate that. It's trademarked. So if you want to talk to a lawyer, let's go for it.
I don't see a trademark sign next to it.
Oh, good. So, Callum, I think you're actually more experienced with messaging than I am. So you've decided not to fix it, or you have it working? I didn't quite understand it. How do you have it set up?
Okay, so essentially what this is a conversation thread. This is a group that has a state of a conversation thread. So whenever I click another conversation, it shows up. And when I create a message, there is a parent conversation thread, right?
Oh yeah, I know. I think I asked. I said Adam, but I wanted to ask Callum because I know that Callum has implemented messaging in his app. So yeah, because I've done it, but I've done it in a few apps and a long time ago, and I think I didn't do it in reverse. I agree that it looks way better and it makes much more sense. I remember that I had to use the plugin, so I never solved that issue. I just said, well, it's okay. People are not going to use messaging that much. So it's not worth it just using a plugin. But I guess that since Callum has an app that is another circle and needs messaging.
What's the issue though? It looks like it's working there. What's the issue?
The messaging functionality is working fine. It's just I want it to start at the bottom of the repeating group. So like when you go here, it starts, well, that's not a good example. Let me try to find a thread.
Yeah, you need to scroll, right?
I just want it to start at the bottom. Does that make sense?
Okay, but when you type and send a message, it puts it at the bottom, right?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. I don't know them, so that's my. I have the same problem. Like I don't know what plugin you're using. So mine doesn't necessarily. Sometimes it starts at the bottom, but I think that might just be because of my page size. The only thing I can.
That's
So
actually a very
sometimes,
good question. I don't know how to scroll inside a particular element to a
and
certain
it's
position, because I guess that's what we need to do, right? We need to scroll inside that group to the bottom, but you don't want to, I mean, you can only access the outer elements in the scroll to action in the workflows.
I actually have something set that scrolls to the last entry of the repeating group. However, if you load a repeating group, not all of the elements are loaded on page load, right? So you have to keep scrolling through the repeating group to get, like, imagine if you go back and forth with somebody a couple times, like 20 or whatever, it's not going to load all those at the same time.
what are you using, by the way? What's the plugin you're using for? Because it might just be the plugin issue, and I can just tell you which one I'm using. Because I've just checked mine, and actually mine does stop at the bottom. Sometimes it jumps a little bit, but it doesn't start at the top. It starts a little bit below the bottom. But I could probably have a look. What plugin are you
So I'm
using?
curious which one you're using. If yours is working, what's yours?
Yeah, of course. Let me just check messaging.
And could you just load the latest messages, you know, like, because if you're loading messages and you're starting from the ones that were sent before, then you might need to scroll down. But if you do it the opposite way, then you would need to scroll up, right?
Yeah. I do load it based off of the latest. I do load it based off the latest, and I have the order going so that the latest are at the bottom. So that's all set up. I just don't. Yeah. So, but what's the reverse repeating group situation that you use?
Yeah, I'm just trying to find it. I can see the ID attribute I've got assigned to it, but I'm struggling to find the actual element on the page. Oh, hang on. Oh, that's why I'll be in combo header. Give me a sec. Oh, there we go, combo header, and then there we go. It's reverse RGB. Can you hear that rain, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really noisy.
It's crazy.
Let me just see which one I'm using. It's that's chat bubble. Oh, there we go. So it's the 0 code one, reverse repeating group.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I think that might have been the one that got my cells flipped upside down. So what settings do you have?
oh yes, I think there is something in here. There's something you might need to do. So it's this one here. Was that the one that you said? So
Yes.
there's element
Yes. Reverse RG is exactly, yeah, that's the one that I use.
That's the one you're currently using.
Yeah.
Huh. In which case, I'm not sure. I mean, to be fair, mine is on mobile, so I don't know whether that makes a difference, but mine is using that and it works fine, and it starts to the bottom.
All right. All right. I'm
So-
gonna mess around with it a little bit.
And you've set it up to, because I'm gonna send you like a forum post. You've probably already read it, but I would try everything that is mentioned there,
Okay.
because it seems like a few people have that same issue and they're using that plugin.
So there you go. So
but
that right there. So that started at the bottom, and that has multiple chats in there. Yeah, that has multiple in there, and it works from the bottom. So I'm not sure. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Thank you so
They all
much.
start. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. It's weird because mine works fine.
Yeah.
It's using the same thing.
I like your animations, by the way, of the chat.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, not sure. I'd have a look. I do remember seeing something about it flipping, so I'm not sure whether you just need to rotate it or something, but yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you.
No worries.
Yeah, I've also found another plugin that I guess you've already tested a few and went with that one. But just in case you want to try another one, this one has pretty decent reviews.
Okay, awesome.
So guys, let me know if you have more questions, and otherwise I'll get prepared to watch the football match this evening.
I've got a quick one if anyone else doesn't mind. Let me see, because while I've got you, Pablo, because you know list shifter better than I do, don't you? While we're talking about reversing lists. Let me show you this. You can see my screen, can't you? Right, so different page. This doesn't entirely work properly, so I'm just looking to go through the theory. So in my summary page, you can see when it loads that I've got this stuff here is all sortable. So I could sort by impressions, sort by CTR, etc., etc. Now, here is this rank change thing, which is basically a calculation. So it takes some data. So inside the repeating group, it says, okay, take this and take that away from it. Now, I'm doing these sorts via list shifter, but obviously the challenge I've got is here where I'm doing a calculation. That calculation is happening outside of list shifter directly in the cell. So list shifter's got no way of sorting this because it doesn't know anything about it. So I think I need to do process list with list shifter, I think, but I'm not sure. I've not even looked at process list properly to work out. So I guess that's the question is, I get all this stuff from list shifter. This is a calculated cell. How would I sort the calculated cell the same way I'm sorting the rest? Bearing in mind I'm using list shifter.
I'm not sure, honestly.
Okay.
I have never had to sort by a calculated field, but I know that I have some notes on the process list action.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna look for those because that might be useful. Have you watched the video by Keith where he explains the process list action?
Yeah, I think, yes, I have, but I think he's using it for a totally different scenario. And I don't think, unless I'm just being stupid, which is entirely possible.
No, that's also what I was recalling. He uses it for something like super different.
Yeah. So I don't think it explains in simple terms how to sort of take it, do some sort of thing with it.
Can you show me how you're calculating that field?
Yeah. So let's do it on pages because I've actually got it sort of working on pages. So here, so repeating group, get pages row greater than 30, which means my greater than 30 is my older data set because I'm basically taking the most recent date away from the prior period. So list to get pages rows, filtered, blah, 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 first item, which I'll need to change all this later. Position formatted as, converted to number, minus the parent group's get pages row. So I'm really just taking data out of another repeating group and taking it away from this one. Now,
so you're comparing the positions, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Wow, that's a tricky one because I'm thinking like the easiest whenever I've really needed to sort something by a calculated field, I think I've ended up like including that field inside the data that I'm using in the repeating group. You know what I mean? But that's like the easy solution. And maybe you don't want to go that route.
Well, the challenge, of course, I've got is I'm not storing any of this data. This is all coming directly
because it's all coming from the API.
Yeah. Yeah, because nothing gets, well, none of this data is in the database because, and I'll say why, and it might change my view once they finally come out where they are on the pricing situation. But if you think about it, I'm getting 2,000 rows per query,
Yeah.
I can
That's
go
not
in and
feasible,
change so I've got 8 websites, so that's 16,000 rows of data. And then because I can change the time periods, it's a huge amount of data I'd be storing. Whereas the API just gets it all for me without any real problems. So other than things like this, I've not really need to store it. But if you go to sort of in, let me pick on this. If you go in here, there's this whole list shifter process list thing, wherever it is, processing started, where is it? Something in here. So, and it gives you a load of stuff where you can do calculations.
I think it might be in an action. So you might need to start the workflow, they select an event, and then inside the actions, you do have the process list thing.
Yeah. Let's find one where I've already got it. So I've probably got somewhere. It's on a simple.
I'm looking at my notes and I'm seeing that there is a way to do it with a different set of plugins with the BDK, I think it's called the
BDK.
repeating group. Yeah, BDK repeating groups and another one.
Okay.
But I've never tried it myself.
Yeah.
But it seems like that should work. If you're already using list shifter, it would be great if we could do it with list shifter.
Yeah.
To avoid having another one. Yeah.
List shifter presents with all, so I can get, there's the things I'm wanting to process the list on. So I would just target the right one. So original, latest as an example. And then it's a case of, can I go in here and say, right, we'll use this list. It's this stuff that I still don't really understand. Step 1 operand where I can do all this stuff. So it looks like it lets me do all sorts of clever things. It's just too clever for me because I don't understand it. What I might do is I might put a post onto the list shifter thread and see if Keith will do a little demo or something, because he's been around recently, so that might be the way to go.
I think if you ask the question and you show that you've done the work, and actually because you've done it, you've investigated a lot, he'll be happy to answer. You might get a little bit of sarcasm and all these things.
Probably he'll do one of his videos with a fag in his mouth. Yeah.
But yeah, he's great. So maybe you do get the answer. I'm gonna have a look though, see if I can solve it. This will take me a bit more time, but I mean it's a recurring question, and it's something that I've needed in the past. And as I said, in the end, I resorted to creating the field in the database, but that's not an option for you, and it will very likely not be an option for me in the future with another use case. So it's something that would be useful to know.
So I think list shifter is perfectly capable of doing it. I just don't know how.
I'm pretty sure it is. Because in the end, I mean, you're able to do that with plain JavaScript. You can sort the list with another list. You just need to store the calculated values in that other list and make sure that they're both the same size and everything. That you don't have any null values and all these things. But if that's happening, you're able to sort it. So I'm pretty sure you can do it with list shifter. But I don't know how to. We will figure it out.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Adam, do you have anything else that you want to cover?
So kind of on a similar topic, but a little bit different. I'm trying to figure out a way to reorder and resort by dragging in just a list of database items. And there are a couple plugins that I've been messing around with, which one of them is the easy code one and one of them is the zero code one. And honestly, either one work for me, but both seem to have a count associated, and it just seems like it's not really set up for dynamic data. Maybe I'm misunderstanding it, but it looks like in their examples they have like the word green, and it just seems like it's stuff that has been made but doesn't necessarily, they set it up for the example, but it's not showing it in the use case, right? So I don't know how many times somebody's going to type in the word green in an actual app to reorder it in terms of like the words red and yellow. So essentially what I'm saying is like when I have somebody create just for the sake of example, a feed post, right? There's a lot of information within that, but I'm just wondering, do I need a count? Like, do I need to basically give it a count at the start of me creating it in order to later use a repeating group drag to sort element?
You mean like have an order field inside the thing to be
Yes.
able to order? Yeah.
And
I
so when
think
you
so.
have an order field within it, do you have to create that at the start?
And then change it every time you drag the element. You mean?
Yeah,
I think so. That's at least how I've seen it implemented in the past.
got it. Okay, thank
That's
you.
what I would do. Yeah. And then, I mean, I guess if you don't care about keeping the order and you just want it for like this session, and then if the person refreshes, the order goes back to the initial, you could
No,
just
I
store the
do.
order. If you care, then you need to have it in the database. Yeah.
My concern though is like what happens, I guess nothing bad happens if somebody deletes something later, right? So what I have the use case for is like there is an order and you can delete something in the middle of the order if you want. So if you end up deleting something and then you want to rearrange something later, is that going to mess it up? I guess not, because if you're deleting, let's say the numbers go from 1 to 20, if you delete number 17, it's just going to go from 16 to 18. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I would think. Yeah. If you run into, I mean, that's a very good question. If you run into that error, I'm pretty sure someone else is going to have run into it before you. Yeah. But I would think that it should work even if you delete items.
And then I guess every time I create something, I just do a search for the last item's number or the last item's order number.
You might be able to access that order number using the plugin.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, if it's a good plugin, it should definitely expose that value.
Okay.
Yeah. Where you're
All
dropping
right.
the element. Yeah.
And this will be a list of like up to 50 items plus. So I'm gonna just have to reset the entire order from that point. So when it gets reordered and you click update, it's not only that some of these plugins only give you like the ability to update the order of that particular thing that you just dragged, but I guess I would have to update the order of the entire list from start to finish.
That's another good question. I think I need to see an example working to actually know if that would work or.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna mess around with it, and which sessions are you in? Are you like which days?
It depends, but I can come to a session probably next week and see if both John and you have made progress on those issues, and yeah, we can comment on those.
All right, I appreciate it.
That'd be great. Yeah, I'm also gonna send you I think I have a forum post again in my notes somewhere. I'm gonna look for it because I remember a similar question about drag and drop and reordering that we covered in the past.
Thank you.
Hey, so I'm gonna stop.